everyone, welcome here. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you for coming back and watching another video. When I think about my minimalist journey, paper clutter was one of the biggest and hardest areas for me to tackle. First, because I've always been like kind of an organized person, but I was the type of person who felt like I needed to keep every important document ever. So if I rewind in my head to like 4 years ago or so when I started like decluttering my life, I can remember underneath our bed, we had like 2 huge Rubbermaid bins of like paper things, of like important or what we thought were important paper things. And they were like kind of organized. Like my husband had one bin and all like his stuff was in there. And I had another bin, and I like, as things would come in, I'd be like, oh, I should keep that and just like throw it in the bin in like kind of an organized fashion. It was chaos. And then fast forward to today, we literally now have one file folder that contains only a few pieces of paper, like physical copies of things that we need to save. And then everything else has been digitized, or I have shred or let go of things that I actually didn't need to keep because I can access it online. So in today's video, I just wanted to share with you some tips and tricks on reducing the paper clutter in your life. And I've broken this video up into 3 parts. So the first part is how to reduce the overall amount of paper that comes into your life in the first place. The second part is dealing with the paper clutter that you do have now. And then the third part is how to create a system to keep paper clutter out of your life in the future. So with all that said, let's get started. So the easiest and best way to more permanently reduce paper clutter is to tackle the paper that is coming into your life. And these things seem sort of obvious and simple, and they are, but it's more about making the commitment to actually doing it. So the first is moving to paperless billing for all of your bills. And a lot of companies actually prefer this. Our phone company, for instance, gives us a discount on our phone bill every month for doing paperless billing. So it's a little bit of a monotonous task of having to like go to every website, log into your account and choose paperless billing. But if you just tackle like a couple every day and commit to like within a time frame of 1 week of getting it all done, it's not that bad, and it's going to save you so many pieces of paper coming into your life that you don't need. And typically, if a company offers paperless billing, you can also access your old bills online as well. So if you need something like a utility bill with your name on it for some purpose, you can always go to your online account, download a PDF, and either use the PDF copy of it, or you can always print it out if you need the printed copy. The second way to reduce the paper that's coming into your life is to get yourself off mailing lists. And there's a couple ways to do this. The first way is to put yourself on basically like the do not call list of mail. And that can be done through, I think it's called like the Data and Marketing Association, something. What's it called? I can't read my own writing. I'll link it down below. Fail. Essentially, for like a $2 fee, you can put yourself on this list and stop receiving a lot of the marketing mailing. And you can essentially do the same thing for credit card and insurance company offers as well. It's a separate website, and I'll put that down below in the description box as well. And the second way that you can do this is to actually call the companies who are sending you the mail and tell them to stop. So I did this probably like 3 or 4 years ago now, and honestly, like, it's a pain in the butt. But just as things would come in, I would sit down and call the company. Like if it's a catalog that you're getting, like say you're getting like a West Elm catalog and you're like, stop sending me this catalog that has all the things that are also on your online catalog. Call West Elm and be like, can you remove me from your mailing list? So each one is gonna take a couple minutes to get through, especially if you call a company, it's like, press 1 for our hours, press 2 for our retail locations. It's a little bit of a slow and painful process to go through, but for me, it was totally worth it to not have all of this paper waste coming into my house where I would literally just get things from the mailbox and throw half of it in the recycling, which is just like heartbreaking and annoying to do. But the fun upside of this is that we now don't get very much mail, and when we do get mail, it's usually important and needs attention, or it's like fun mail. It's like a letter or a card or like something good to get in the mail. It just makes getting the mail much more fun. Okay, so now that you have less paper clutter coming into your life, let's talk about dealing with the paper clutter that you do have. So the first thing that was helpful for me was having a system of categorization for all the paper clutter in my life. So each thing that we have, or each new thing that comes into our life, falls into one of 3 categories. Either it is a piece of paper that we need to keep. You must have the original hard copy, or it's something that I need to scan and save, or it's something that can be shredded. So when I was first going through the declutter process of all my paper, I essentially organized every single piece of paper into 3 stacks. And what papers you are going to keep or scan or shred and recycle really is a personal decision. For us, like I said, we just have a single file folder of original documents that we've kept, and the only things that are in there are car titles, our marriage license, social security cards, and birth certificates. Those are the only things that we have sort of hard original copies that we have kept. Everything else has been digitized or we just haven't kept it. And your life might be a little bit different, right? Like for instance, we don't keep any of our insurance policy documents only because all the insurance that we have, we're able to access online versions of our policy and all the related documents. So we don't need to keep like insurance policies and things like that. And same thing with like tax related documents. So we all know we're supposed to keep tax related documents. I think it's like 7 years or something like that. And we do that, but we just keep electronic copies of all of that stuff. There's nothing I've been advised of or seen or read that says you have to keep physical copies of your tax return. We do all of our communication with our accountant electronically. We file our taxes electronically. So like, why would I need to keep a paper copy of that? Same thing with like receipts. We ran a business for 5 years that had a ton of deductions and receipts that needed to be saved. But every time a receipt came in, once a week, I would just sit down and scan in all of the receipts. And I'll show you in the third part of this video a little bit how we organize that stuff. But just in terms of like what we keep hard copies of and what we don't, all tax related stuff we don't keep hard copies of. Another one that comes to mind is warranties for big ticket items. We don't own a lot of big ticket items as minimalists. We don't own a lot of items at all, but we do have a couple things that are covered under a warranty, and those have been registered online and the warranties are accessible online as well. So there's no need for us to keep the actual like warranty. And same thing with like owner's manuals. I never keep an owner's manual. Either you can access it through a brand's website. Most of them are at least a PDF version on the website, or you can literally just Google how to fix something. Like I was having a weird problem with my vacuum the other day, and I was like, I don't know how to fix this. Like, what is this weird light that's blinking? And I just Googled the brand and the model and the weird thing that was happening, and there was a million answers of how to fix it. To me, owner's manuals are not a thing that I need to keep in my life. So those are just a few examples of common things that people feel like they need to keep paper copies of that I do not feel like I need to keep paper copies of. But again, this is a very personal process. If you're not comfortable with any of that, then keep them. Do what makes you feel comfortable, but again, these are just some options. Okay, so now that we've gone through how to reduce the paper clutter that's coming into your life, how to categorize some of the paper clutter that you already have, the last step is how to create a system that is sustainable and that will keep your life paper-free. So the first thing is scan. I don't know what the world did before there were scanners. So for all of the paper that fell into my second category of need to keep this but don't need to keep a physical copy of this, I scan it. So when I was first going through the process of the big paper declutter a few years ago, I actually bought a scanner. So I have a Gypsy mobile scanner, and this thing is amazing. It scans pages really, really quickly, and then you just plug a USB into your computer and you can move the scans onto your desktop. What's great about this is not only does it scan pages pretty quickly, it's small, it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it gives you some options to be able to crop things, staple some pages together, and create PDFs all within the Gypsy app that you can put onto your computer. So this option was great for me because I had such a high volume of things to get through. And I will say that at the same time that I was doing like my paper declutter, I also did a photo declutter. So I don't have any like physical photographs anymore. I scan them all in using the scanner. And it was great at the time. It was exactly the solution I needed. But now that everything's been digitized and I just do like a couple papers per week, I don't really need this big scanner anymore. I actually need to declutter this and sell it. What I use now is called the Adobe Scan app on my phone. This is an app you can download for free, and it's essentially just like taking a picture of a document, but it does create a PDF, and it can be a readable and searchable PDF. So meaning if you're looking through all of your digital files and you want something with a certain word in it, like if you're looking for the name of a company within all of your documents, you'll be able to search and scan the PDF that you create from the Adobe Scan app. So I think the Adobe Scan app on the phone is better for like ongoing maintenance once you've already like digitized your life, but to get through like the big piles of paper, a physical scanner might be a little bit better. So if anybody wants to buy the scanner, let me know, I'll sell it to you. So the second side to this is when you scan everything in, you want to have a system for organization and a system for backup. So for my storage, I use Google Drive. This is great because you can access it anywhere you have a Wi-Fi or phone connection. You can access it from an app on your phone, and from the app you can open, edit, make changes to your Google Drive. And this was really important to me, especially because we were traveling full time for so long and I needed something that was portable and accessible anywhere. But because I put so many important documents and so much of my life on Google Drive, I do want some backup and redundancy in the system. So I do back it up to a hard drive once about every 6 months. And I know like Google Drive in itself is a redundant system with the amount of servers and things that they have, but this was more for peace of mind for myself. If I wasn't able to access the internet for any reason, I wouldn't lose access to every important thing that has ever happened in my life. All right, so this next part's gonna get like a little micro, but I think it's an important part of the overall organization of your digital life. And that's how you actually organize the digital files on whatever storage solution you wanna go with. So starting with the macro, I basically have 3 big buckets of things. I have work, I have photos, and I have personal things. So for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to really talk about the work and photos things. The work is more like copies of resumes, copies of past work I've done, like portfolio sort of things. And photos is obviously a digital record of all of the photos that I've scanned in and all the photos that I moved from my phone. But the personal is where most of like the scanned papers go. And in that personal folder are subfolders for things like insurance, taxes, pay stubs, all of those papers that I have deemed important enough to save. But the part that is important is the way that you label each file, because it's easy enough to scan something in and it comes with like, you know, the default file name that whatever your scanner app puts on it, but how are you ever going to find it again? So the way that I organize each one of those documents is by date and by company. This is getting real, like my type A is showing. So say for instance, I got a letter from my insurance company that said something important and they only sent it to me in a letter. I didn't get an electronic notice of it. I'm gonna take that paper, scan it in, and then the file name is going to start with the year, the month, and the day that I received the letter. And then I'll say like the name of my insurance company. And then if I want like some sort of thing on the end that says like letter of termination or like whatever it is. That didn't happen, don't worry, I still have insurance. So for instance, if I got that letter the day this video goes up, which is gonna be May 5th, it would say 2020-04-05 _ nationwide, or whatever the insurance company is. So why is that an important thing to do? Typically in any file storage system, files are sorted by name, right? So you can go in and see like, okay, everything's now going to be sorted chronologically. So if I need to reference back like that weird insurance letter that I got back in May of 2020, it's going to be super easy to find. Versus like, even if you just change those numbers a little bit, like if you're in the US, we're really used to doing dates that go like month, day, year. So if you were to go month, day, year, and then open up the folder, you're going to have like all of the letters that you ever got in January of every year at the top, which is like not that helpful. Instead, if you start with the year, the month, and then the day, you'll have that chronological list. The other important side of your ongoing maintenance of a paper-free life is dealing with paper as soon as it comes into your house. Usually when we get the mail, I don't always have time to like open it right away, but there is a pile on the desk that I will put any new incoming mail. And I go through that pile at least once a week, if not multiple times a week. And that just is like opening things up, categorizing it into keep this forever, scan this, shred or recycle this. And if you keep doing that at least once a week, it's going to keep that paper clutter from accumulating back up. And when you already have the systems in place to deal with the clutter, it makes it a lot easier to do, right? If you already have like your scan app or your scanner, if you already have like your online storage set up and your folders set up, if there's already a system, you're a lot more likely to do it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments, or any ways that you organize your paper clutter that is useful to you. I'd love to hear what you've been doing. And if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. It helps my channel a lot. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, friends. When the foot for itchy nose. What was that? Why am I wearing long sleeves? It is too hot for this. But I already started the video in a long sleeve, so I feel like I'm committed now. You want to say hello to YouTube? Come here. Say hi. Quarantine hair. Yes, you are adorable. Okay, I'll come pet you. When I think about my minimal